Last week I had the opportunity to share with you a remembrance of the events that took place 70 years ago in the aftermath of the Holocaust, when the Jewish people lost 1/3 of our nation in the terrible events that marked this period of history. This week I would like to share with you a miracle. Now I know you may think to yourself, miracles don't occur anymore, but that is not true. Miracles occur in our modern day just as they did in ancient times. In the aftermath of the Shoah, many in the Jewish community thought the story of the Jewish people had come to a tragic end. Many believed that the Jewish people who had been decimated by the events of the war could not recover, could not regain a sure footing in the world. And if you had told those people at that time that within 3 years they would live to see the realization of the ancient dream of our prophets, the restoration of a modern Jewish state in Israel, they rightfully would have been skeptical. And yet that is precisely what happened. Out of the ashes of the Holocaust was born the modern state of Israel. And this week, we celebrate the 70th anniversary of that old new state. The Jewish people have constantly been a people who have defied the odds. At any point in our history, one could have looked at what was occurring in the world and said, that is the end. How can a people survive all of the persecution and the suffering that the Jewish people has known throughout the generations? At our Passover Seders this last month, we marked the Passover Seder by repeating the words, B'chol dor v'dor, in every generation we must look upon ourselves as if we personally had suffered the persecution of the past. In every generation there have arisen those who sought to destroy us, and yet God has redeemed us from their hand. The modern story of Israel is a story of divine redemption. Against the advice of many in the world in 1948, the members of Israel's provisional government gathered together at the Israel Museum in Tel Aviv, and on the 14th day of May in the year 1948, they proclaimed the establishment of the modern state of Israel. Many people had warned the provisional government not to go ahead with this proclamation. Even members of our own government, our own State Department, warned Israel that if they went ahead and declared independence, and if things went bad, they could not depend upon the United States to save them in the event of a combined Arab onslaught. And yet, the members of that government decided that they would trust in God and they would do what Jews had been waiting for almost 2,000 years. And against incredible odds, in the aftermath of that declaration, Israel went on to defeat the combined Arab armies of 5 nations and many, many other groups who came to fight it, and not only to hold its position in the Middle East, but to extend it. Some 50 years ago, 1967, when the Arab world was calling for the destruction of Israel and Nasser of Egypt was promising to drive Jews into the sea, many Jews thought that we could not withstand the onslaught that was coming. Our friends were silent. Nations around the world which had pledged to Israel that they would protect her security were nowhere to be found. On that fateful day in 1967, Israel, again gambling against all odds, went into war with its enemies and miraculously in 6 days had not only held on to its territory but had increased its size threefold. What do you call a people for whom miracles are everyday occurrences? You call them the Jewish people. David Ben-Gurion once said that a Jew who does not believe in miracles is not a realist. As we celebrate this week Israel's 70th anniversary, let us remember that faith in God and faith in ourselves. And let us remember the lesson that Israel teaches us, that we must never be powerless again, that we must never allow our fate to be determined by other nations and other people. So long as we have our own state, so long as the defense of Jews there and elsewhere remains in our hands, we will prevail. Am Yisrael Chai, the Jewish people live. Happy Yom HaAtzmaut. Thank you.